guys, it's me, it's Nita, and I am back for another movie review. The movie that I am reviewing today came out on streaming yesterday, October 28th. It's called The Craft Legacy. It's a Blumhouse production. It is a sequel to the 1996 The Craft. It clocks in at 1 hour and 37 minutes. It's classified as a drama, fantasy, and horror. It is written and directed by Zoe Lister-Jones. It's starring Kaylee Spaney, Zoe Luna, Gideon Edlin, Lovey Simone, David DaVinci, Michelle Monaghan, and a host of others. A synopsis is: a group of high school girls form a coven of witches. And that's all I can really say without getting into spoilers. This is a spoiler-free review. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Normally what I do is I'll tell you what I liked about the movie, what I didn't like about the movie, and should you spend your time watching the movie. Also, too, I throw a rating and some recommendations at the end. As far as the good, I thought the lead was an interesting choice. She was quite different from the original lead of the first movie. But I think the only reason why I really related to her a little bit more is because she was given the most material in the movie. Everything was from her POV. Everything was from her POV. All of the other girls were not featured. I mean, they were there as an accessory to her. However, not much was given to them at all. Some of the mixed aspects, is that the soundtrack was pretty current, and I found myself kind of bopping to some of the soundtrack. What I did find interesting about the soundtrack is that sometimes it was a little distracting. It was doing a little too much, more than what the movie called for, and it was a little distracting. Also, too, they touched on some timely subject matter, i.e. sexuality, patriarchy, and the like. And I'll segue that into the bad. I felt that the issues that they brought up, while they were timely, I felt like they were shoehorned in, a bit contrived. A lot of times they would put these things in the movie with no follow-up, with no why this happened, no resolve to why it happened, no nothing, and you were just kind of left like, this isn't a well-crafted story. You know, there was no character development for no one. No character development other than your lead. Other than Kaylee Spaney, there was no character development for anybody. And I think that was the biggest hindrance of the movie, is that you could not connect to anyone. They stripped all of what was great about the 1996 film, and they did keep some of the things, light as a feather, stiff as a board, you know, some of those things, but a lot of the things that they put in there felt so contrived and so, I don't know, it felt like I was watching like a bougie high school that you really couldn't relate to. But the 1996 version, it was something about the stark contrast of this being a Catholic school and the girls rebelling and doing witchcraft, being badasses. Like, it was just like a stark, you know, it's something that, you know, in 1996, I was 19. I turned 19. I graduated from high school in 96, and I admired girls who could like really like just go in against the grain. Really, really admired them. I was more of an introvert. I wasn't that type of girl. So it was just something about them being badasses in that element, and you could definitely see the stark contrast. And so yeah, there were motivations with the girls in the 1996 film. We had the one girl who was getting abused by the stepfather and the mom. We had Sarah, the lead, who had recently lost her mom, and I believe she tried to commit suicide as well. Then we had the black girl who was being racially bullied by another girl. And then we also had another girl, Nev Campbell, and she had these really, really bad scars all over her body, and she had to hide her body and the things that she went through. So you could see everyone's motivation and why they did the magic. Here in the 2020 version, I didn't know why anybody did the magic. All I know is that the lead has some kind of magic abilities. They never said why. They never really fleshed that out or anything of that nature. So, we're just sitting up here just watching these girls do this, and it was so lackluster. The girls didn't have any chemistry together. There were all these supporting characters doing things that didn't really contribute to the film. Like, I was like, what am I watching? Why am I watching this? Like, I watched it so you didn't have to. So, I'm just letting you know what all happened. The villain, they phoned in their performance. Like, it just kind of came out of the blue. And it just really didn't have no resolve, and no resolve that made sense. Let me say it that way. No resolve that made sense. And there was also a cameo that I won't spoil that happened in the last 5 seconds that really classified the movie as a sequel. But how can you do that in the last 5 seconds of the movie and then there's nothing else? I'm like, are you setting this up for a sequel? Like a series or something? I was like, maybe you should have got not a movie. Maybe you should have just went into a series, a limited series where you could like kind of do that if that's what you're doing. Because leaving all these empty plot holes and plot lines, that didn't help anyone do anything. And so yeah, it's a big fat no for me. Do not watch The Craft Legacy. And also my 3 recommendations. Oh, let me give you my rating. My rating is a D+ or a C-, a D+. A D+, and I give it 2 stars out of 5. I was terribly disappointed, and I'm thinking that the disappointment might have came from watching the 1996 version prior to watching the 2020 version. So 3 movies that I recommend to watch instead of watching The Craft Legacy. Of course, the 1996, the original Craft, starring Nev Campbell and all of our other girls. Practical Magic, and that is Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. Love that movie. And Hocus Pocus, and that has Sarah Jessica Parker. It has Beth Midler, and that is pretty funny as well. And all of those have to do with witches and witchcraft. So I thank you again, especially if you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much. I hope to see some comments down below. Click the like button, subscribe and share, and also follow me on my socials. And until my next review.